Yellow Eswatini. Welcome to another episode of the Future of Business podcast, proudly brought to you by MTN Business. Lena platform lapho khona sikhulumisa khona all things business and tech. And again, we're looking at how does technology transform the way we do business in our day and age. I'm your host, Nombendelo Shongwe. Today, we have a very special guest, Mrs. Thandazile Dlamini, the head of enterprise business at MTN. Welcome, Ngozi.
Thank you, Mbesh. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. We're also very happy that you've made time. Today is a special day. It is her birthday, so happy birthday for that.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So
I'm excited.
You're excited. Thank you. So we're gonna continue on our topic where we're looking at digital transformation and how it touches on different areas of the businesses. And our focus today will be the impact of working from home and running a business virtually. Now, from enterprise space, you deal a lot with our local businesses, both SME and large businesses. So I think looking at the pandemic, we've seen how it has impacted, obviously, what it means to do business on a day-to-day. We've seen the lockdowns have changed our approach. And now let's discuss on how exactly has MTN come into that space where they support businesses and cater for the new normal.
Thank you for that question, Mbesh. I think even before we get there, I really would like to congratulate the business community in Eswatini for taking up a challenge and gearing themselves, up to deal with the situation that prevailed. I think what COVID did when it hit us, it really asked some pertinent questions to organizations, like how digitized your organization is.
Right.
And questions like how can you as an organization use digitized information to simplify the way you work and actually work more efficiently. So that was the biggest challenge. When you look at the lockdowns itself, where people were required to be at home,
right.
Mostly, businesses had to find a way to continue engaging employees while the employees were not within the four walls,
the premises,
of the organization. So we had to think fast. We had to think on our feet, not only us as MTN, but also all organizations that were faced with this challenge. Now coming to your question in terms of, how MTN came to the party to assist organizations to work better. I think, in the midst of us as MTN also grappling with, the concept of having our resources work from home, we also had to think on our feet and ensure that our customers themselves are able to work from home. I think the first thing that we did, we actually put together some work from home packages for data that were actually reduced in price, just to help our customers, connect more for less, so that, the cost of actually having employees working away from the office doesn't really bite the organization, in an uncomfortable way.
Because those would have been new expenses.
It would have been new expenses. But when you actually come closer to organizations and you look at some of the savings, that they were experiencing due to working from home, you will find that there were some efficiencies that were being seen in the areas of, energy usage, water usage.
Right.
Some organizations actually use vehicles, for their employees to move around. So some of those efficiencies, the cost for that, would have been redirected to supporting data and work from home for their employees.
All right, thank you. And I think I like the fact that you're congratulating the businesses, because I think even for us as a business, we've seen the struggle as local employees and the business overall. So I think no other business was excluded from that challenge. And again, we're gonna look at how exactly has everything changed the landscape, and you're looking at working from home. It's new. What does it mean for businesses? It also speaks to the space that the person is living in. Is it a workable environment? And what does it mean now for I have work, I have family, I'm supposed to juggle everything. Maybe let's talk a little bit more about maybe even
About
from
the
your own
space.
the space,
Yeah.
exactly. From your own personal experience, then we can go into how do we look at it in terms of the businesses and the employees that they had to manage throughout this season. And it's not really over yet, although we are able to slowly come back to the offices, but it's not as bad as 2020.
True.
So maybe take us back to your own personal experience. MTN says go work from the house.
Yeah.
What now?
My own personal experience, it was a trial, to be honest. You first trial working from the lounge, working from the dining room, working from your bedroom, until you find, the right spot that will support what you do on a daily basis. I think what the other thing that it did, it actually exposed me to my children, what I actually do on a daily basis. And you got them saying, hey, Mommy, your job is talking all day. So
Because you're always on the computer
because
as well.
I'm always on the computer, I'm always in a meeting. I think every employee out there has a story to tell in terms of how they actually, found their fit and found the right spot in terms of space itself. But we cannot ignore a culture change,
Right.
which every employee needed to go through, because instead of judging productivity by having an employee in the office 8 to 5 p.m., we needed to start looking at productivity as we needed to start looking at output,
Right.
and ensure that our people are engaged during the entire time
Without you seeing them.
without me seeing them. So even people managers, all managers out there, they needed to transform in terms of their thinking. They need to transform their management model.
And increase trust. I think I'm hearing more like
Of
if you don't
course,
see the person,
you can't see the
you have
person.
to trust that they're working.
You have to
and
trust.
measure the outputs.
Exactly. But if the output is coming, then the comfort is in that the work is actually going on. So in terms of working space, I think, everyone out there had to deal with the distractions that are in the home environment, inherently there. You can't, take them away. But everyone had to find, the right balance between being in this environment and actually giving the output that the business is looking for. So I think with the passage of time, we're comfortable working in the home space. Not only myself, but I think, employees out there, our business customers out there, a lot of them are still doing hybrid working. They work from home, they work from the office. Last week, Friday, I met another customer that actually shared that they haven't gone back to the office, at all. They're
Since
still
the
working
pandemic.
since the pandemic.
Wow.
They're comfortable working from home. And I think, this is a combination of tools that have been made by the organizations, data connectivity, which is critical for working from home, tools in terms of, do you have a laptop that has adequate capacity to take, the 8 to 5 accessing resources remotely, etc. etc. And also then the processes that you use as an organization to help bring it together. So once you have people, you have tools, you have the right processes, you are ready to go. So the home environment then doesn't become an issue at all.
Yeah. So I also appreciate what you mentioned about that movement from I'm going to trial my living room, I'm going to trial. And then it challenges us, some of us who are living in smaller spaces. It really becomes, where do you move from the bed sitter, you know? That also speaks to the challenge of the businesses that they've had to face, because you've got a wide range of employees as a business. You don't always cater for their accommodation, you know.
True.
Different environments speak to different things. So even that, I think from all the businesses, the ones that are our customers and Eswatini overall, they've had to deal with all of that. And to see the economy struggling, but also trying to survive, it speaks a lot of the about agility. Last in our discussion in one of the episodes, we did talk about some of the reasons why some businesses didn't make it, and you mentioned one of them, that it needed agility. We needed to adapt. We needed to do more. So let's talk more into the digital transformation. What does it mean for businesses? I know the definitions we've defined these things before.
Yeah.
We say there's digitize, which is transforming your paperwork into a unit that is online.
Yeah.
And then you've got your transformation, which will come from your digitalization. And you touched on that in terms of processes. So maybe let's go into that discussion. What does it mean for businesses? Digital transformation.
It means a lot of things, to be honest. I think I touched on, one of the key questions that the period was asking organizations was, how can you, as an organization, make use of digitized information to simplify the way that you actually work. So that talks to different things for different organizations.
Right.
When you are a small business owner, maybe you don't have, vast IT infrastructure. If you are a large organization, you will have vast, IT infrastructure. So if you have vast IT infrastructure, then definitely digitalization will ask you a critical question, whether you have modernized your IT within your organization to be able to support employees that are working away from the office. So that is a critical question in terms of, are you up to the standard? Have you modernized your IT environment to actually support work from home? And then you then talk to the optimization of the digital resources that you may already have within the organization. How have those been actually optimized to support staff away from the office? And then it is the business models themselves, because if your business model is not also optimized to support digital access to information, digital approvals, etc., then you have a challenge. So the period spoke to the IT transformation for a lot of organization. It spoke to digital tools, their use, and how you're actually transforming and optimizing those digital tools that you have in the organization, as well as introduce new digital business models that will actually support your organization.
Right.
If previously you have not been able to service customers remotely, via the phone, via email, via social platforms, via USSD, for instance, star 007 hash, or star 123 hash, star quadro 8 hash, etc. Those are the kind of channels that some organizations have had to move to, and those channels actually require that you have the right transformation within your IT.
It begins somewhere.
It begins there, within your IT setup.
I think I really appreciate the way you've really segmented the stages of, even though you may have IT, it doesn't end there, because we're coming from a place where if I have something with a challenge digitally or technology related, I would have to go to the IT department.
Yeah.
But now IT is at home.
Yes.
So I still need the support remotely. So I think, you're opening us into a new, I guess, world of understanding that just having the systems alone is not sufficient. The systems must also be up to date, your modernized approach. And then you also touched on remote support for, as well as your enterprise customers. So imagine a situation where we have our CAM, which is your key account managers. They want to support a specific customer. Customer is not there, because they're also under lockdown. Everyone is under lockdown during that period. And I think it has really pushed, even for us as MTN, pushed the way we have to present our services to the customer, be it the business or be it even individual level, at a consumer level. Because now you have to think about how can we create more channels that customers can access me without physically coming to me.
True.
So the USSD is definitely one big one. And already I think you mentioned Quad 8, which is one pretty much everyone uses.
Exactly.
It's the most digital situation. And you think about back in the day when you had to queue.
I think what is key, Mpesh, is that connectivity is like oxygen, every organization has to ensure that connectivity in their employees' homes is up to the standard that they require, so that you don't get interrupted work.
True.
Connectivity in the office, if you go back to the office or have adopted hybrid working in the office and in the home, connectivity in the office as well must be very good. So I think I agree with the statement that says connectivity is a basic need.
It is.
And not only for the individual, but for an organization, it is like oxygen.
True.
Because when you look at how large enterprises, differ from small enterprises, the small enterprise, to be honest, because a majority of them will not have an IT infrastructure or an IT environment. What we usually recommend is that if you're a small business, get yourself a solid, reliable connectivity, like you would have your business connect. I don't know if I've mentioned it earlier, but that is one of the areas we tried to rearrange during the time of COVID. We actually slashed the price, I think, by half. I think the entry 20 GB was about 465, and it went down to 250 entry for a 20 GB bundle, just to allow small enterprises to actually have solid, reliable connectivity at home to continue doing what they need to do in their businesses. So you would want a small enterprise to have solid connectivity. You would want a small enterprise to also be plugged onto the cloud, because they don't necessarily need to have an IT infrastructure if their size allows them,
Sure.
to do that. There are also tools that are available. You can get your email from the cloud. There is Office 365 to help you with all the tools that you actually need to run your business. There are some also solutions that are available, your Sage accounting packages that you can get as a small organization. We also put together some digital solutions for receptionists, so that you don't necessarily need to hire a receptionist to come sit and answer your calls, because you are still growing. So you can get solutions like that that are here for your organization to actually tap into and progress.
All right, thank you. I think I appreciate all of that you've said. And again, you've mentioned how exactly MTN is stepping into that space for the SMEs, especially looking at your smallholder, your SOHO, which is very important, because I think when you are that small, you don't have the backing of capex. You don't have backing a capex budget that you're gonna review for the year. You just have enough of your resources to move into the
True.
next quarter,
True.
and you're just hoping that everything else, your customers, because it also speaks to the payment. With that size of a business, you're running on the payments that you're serviced in the last 3 months, and with the pandemic hitting hard, the delayed payments brought extra strain to those businesses. And we can all agree that even those who are working within that environment, they could feel the strain and all the pressure. But again, agility has been very important. You mentioned about the packages for work from home, which is also the Business Connect packages, and how they became more affordable. Affordability will speak to, again, addressing that challenge for SMEs, the cash flow challenges that we know are very prevalent within our sector that we support. Now, can you talk more about your VPNs and sponsored data, and how that has been a solution as well, and people can access that for different sizes of the businesses?
Wonderful. Initially, we actually put together a VPN package for large organizations, wherein we provision a pool of data for different users within your organization to access. So you would have 500 GB, you would have 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes of a data pool. And then what we do is that we provision the numbers or the cell phone numbers of all the employees that you want to feed from this port. So it's just one port. The entire organization consumes from this port. And you can also define as an organization and put some business rules around that to say, for instance, I don't want employee Mpesh to consume beyond 1 GB per day.
All right.
Or I don't want employee Tandazile to consume beyond 5 GB per day. Just so that, you can also control what happens within the home environment. Remember, you are not there, so I did mention that your processes must also speak to what you are trying to do in optimizing efficiencies for staff. So that package has actually helped a lot of key large enterprises to enable them to consume data at very, very economic rates.
Yes, thank you. I think I like that VPN and the way you explain how you have, as an organization, the benefit of segmenting the usage of that.
Yes.
So it kind of mimics an office environment, even though you're not there.
True.
Because in the office, you would have what you're given, that you have access to your actual given data. And being at home, it kind of mimics that same environment and security and controls and all of that. I think whenever we speak on connectivity, we also have to think about the issue of information security.
True.
And being at home, it also means that businesses have had to think about how do we keep our information secure. When someone is just working from home, they could be working on critical information.
Of course.
You want to control all of that. So I think that VPN solution does give that, I guess, mimicking that office environment. So
It does because, I didn't mention that you can also define the sites, that your employees cannot access and the sites that your employees can access. So it really does put the control back into your hands as an organization.
Right.
So the right processes and the right business rules that you apply to it will then, ensure how much you secure your information as well.
All right, thank you. Now we're coming towards the close of our conversation. There's something critical that I wanted to talk about in terms of the benefits. Will we ever go back to what was, what was work before the pandemic? What's your take on that? Is it even worth businesses exploring, taking a step back, or should we just move forward from here? What's your projection of the work environment, and what do we expect? What should we be expecting as businesses?
It's definitely worth, every moment and every hour, every minute you put into reviewing considerations like that. I don't think we will ever go back to what was.
So we can kiss that goodbye.
We can
Go
kiss
on.
that. We can kiss that goodbye. It is up to organizations, to be honest, because there are employees that you really never need to come to the office. There are employees that can 100% handle their work away from the office. Of course, there are employees that you will need to come into the office environment. And that's all well and good. But, it does speak to downsizing the size of the building. If you have no building as yet and you are planning to build an office park, downsizing will make sense, because those of your employees who do not need to come physically to the office, they can continue working wherever they are. If you want to hire somebody outside the borders,
It's becoming more flexible.
it's
for them.
becoming more flexible. I mean, you can decide to work for Australia while
Right from your comfort of your home.
right from the comfort of your lounge or
Right.
your home office. So going back to what was, I don't think we will ever fully go back to what was. A lot of organizations are adopting hybrid work. Some employees coming to the office, some continuing to work from home. Other organizations will have wanted to come back to the office, fully. But that the connectivity in the home space and what we have done in the last 2 years has actually stretched employees, in that even if they do come to the office, when they get home, work continues. We've learned to live with work. So work is part of what we do, whether we're in the office, whether we're in the home. We just need to keep the balance between the work and the life that we need to live, and also support families. So I would encourage organizations to keep at it, because some of the benefits of work from home, we have seen are tangible. Some employees have become more productive.
Right.
Being
Out of sight, more productive.
being in a comfortable, environment where they are comfortable that my child is here, is okay.
Right.
Within an environment that they are used to as well. Food is here, it's in the kitchen. I can get it anytime I need to. I don't need to go find lunch. I can work well into the evening. So
Without
that
that
is
travel time.
without that
Stuck
travel
in traffic
time,
and
stuck
all
in
of
traffic
that.
and all those distractions. So we've actually transformed since the time when we started doing this as employees in general.
All right. So I hear that you're definitely sold on the digital way of life.
It is a way of life, yeah.
No more on the old way. So I think maybe in parting, I want to hear, you've already mentioned that businesses should keep at it and employees should also keep at it. Now, touch more on you've talked about downsizing in terms of scale of a building. Most definitely, those are tangible benefits. Now, I want to just pick your brain on what's the cost on the employee side. What have you seen, or what do you expect? For example, now that I work from home, obviously I'm using my utilities. So my utility bill is going up. The company is saving utility bill. My electricity is the one that's going up. The company is saving. So how have you seen, maybe what's your thoughts around how can businesses balance that? Because I think maybe in the long run, that may become a pain point. Like, you have to guess one. When I look at the way things are going, I'm looking at the fact that now I'm spending more, obviously, because I'm more time in the house. My bills are the ones that are going up. So what do you think we'll have to inform maybe in the next couple of years, company policies around those benefits and balancing that? Do you think businesses should think about these things, or
Of course, we can't
there some
bar
cost?
businesses. We can't bar businesses from thinking about that. But at the same time, now ibuka le bhola ifana ne coin. You see, you either have a tail or you have a head.
True.
Because you see, the level of comfort as well that you have, usebenzele ekhaya, unako konke lokudingako, uyakhona kubona umndeni wakho, nanku uyakhona ku-attenda tinshwana takho letisekhaya, because ukuthi ngawusebenta ashaye 7, ashaye 8, ashaye 9, that kind of flexibility and the convenience. You also cut down on the travel, I'm sure uyetha na uye emsebentini.
True.
Most people do. Labanye futhi bagibela ibhasi bayabhadala. They also save on those costs. So njengoba nje ekuqaleni ngithi the organization can redirect some cost savings in terms of energy, etc., to data usage and ensuring that employees have a trusted connection in the home environment. The same employee, the same for the employee. In actual fact, ngoba ne employee nayo inema savings lewabonako ngekungaye office.
Big savings.
Big savings. Transport, bus fare, you talk all of the lunches that you buy when you are around here. Now the kaya utodla lengwangwa lekhona.
True.
Lunch, and that 40 emalangeni that you were using to buy lunch outside the home, that is a saving. So to a large extent, there are savings and costs that balance each other at some level, although organizations may be challenged to review their policies as well, just to ensure comfortability of staff when they work from the home environment.
All right. Thank you. So I like how you had the balance of I'm the consumer, on the other side is the employee, also thinking about the business. Otherwise, thank you so much, TT, for your time. It's really been fun talking about this, especially because it does touch on us as well. Like we've had to work from home. And so that's a wrap for us today. Thank you so much for staying in tune with us up to this far. And we're looking forward to the next episode. We'll continue talking. I'm your host, Inombendela Shongwe. Thank you.